The arrest on Station Orion. Station Orion floated in space like a silver ring around a quiet moon. Inside, lights blinked, ships docked, and people from many worlds walked side by side. Humans, aliens, traders, guards. This place was a symbol of peace after years of war. Among them walked Kara. She was not just any alien. Kara belonged to the Yllari, a graceful species with silver skin and bright blue eyes. Her long white hair flowed behind her as she walked calmly through the human sector. She wore a diplomat's robe, smooth and clean, showing her high status. She came here for peace, for hope, for something better. But peace ended in a single moment. "You're under arrest," said a cold voice behind her. Kara turned slowly. A human officer stood there, tall, armored, sharp eyes. His nameplate read Commander Ryan. He held a stun baton in one hand, and in the other, he raised a digital arrest order. People stopped and stared. Aliens paused. Humans whispered. Kara's heart beat faster, but her face showed no fear. "On what charge?" she asked calmly. "Terrorism," Ryan said without blinking. "You are linked to the explosion at Research Station 9. Kara blinked once. She did not answer. Not because she was guilty, but because she was in shock. "I have never been to that station," she said after a pause. "This is a mistake." Ryan stepped closer. "We found your identity chip at the scene. Dina scan confirmed it. Come quietly." Kara looked around. Dozens of eyes on her. Some angry, some confused. No one stepped forward. "You are making a grave mistake," she said, voice calm but heavy. "We'll see," Ryan replied. He placed a glowing cuff on her wrist. It clicked and locked, then dimmed. Kara did not resist. She allowed herself to be taken. As they walked through the station's corridors, silence followed them. The guard at the checkpoint looked surprised to see her in cuffs. "Is this real?" he whispered. "Commander's orders," said the officer beside him. They passed through scanners, metal gates, and thick doors. Finally, Ryan stopped outside a cell room and motioned her inside. "You'll stay here until the investigation is complete," he said. Kara walked into the small room, its walls smooth and white, with a small bench and nothing else. The door slid shut behind her with a soft hiss. Inside the room, Kara sat and closed her eyes. Outside, Ryan watched her through a screen. Something about her didn't match the image of a criminal. She looked more like a teacher than a threat. But evidence didn't lie. Or did it? He opened her file. Background clean. Training in diplomacy, not war. No signs of radical behavior. No record of violence. But her chip was found at the scene. A station destroyed. 5 humans dead. He sighed and leaned back in his chair. Inside the cell, Kara opened her eyes and looked at the wall. This was no mistake. This was a message. Someone had set her up. And now she had to survive long enough to prove it. The charges she never saw coming. The cold walls of the human detention cell whispered silence. Kara sat still, her hands resting on her knees, her silver skin glowing softly under the white lights. Hours passed. No one came. No questions. No answers. Finally, the door slid open with a hiss. Commander Ryan walked in. His expression was hard, but his eyes showed something more, confusion or doubt. He held a thin data tablet in his hands. "The investigation has begun," he said. "I'm here to inform you of the charges." Kara did not move. She only nodded once. 5 days ago, Ryan continued, Human Research Station 9 was destroyed in a controlled explosion. 5 scientists died. Our tech teams found a small device inside the wreckage. Your identity chip was fused into it. Not near it. Inside it. Kara's eyes narrowed. "I have never visited that station. Your DNA is also present on a fragment recovered from the main lab. It doesn't look good." Kara stood slowly. "You're saying someone planted both my chip and my DNA at a crime scene?" Does that sound natural to you, Commander? Ryan hesitated. No, it doesn't, he admitted. But I don't get paid to trust my gut. I follow the data. Kara stepped closer, her tone firm. Data can be bent. Truth cannot. Ryan looked at her for a long moment, then handed her the tablet through a slot in the wall. Look at the images. Tell me if you recognize anything. Kara took the device. Her eyes scanned the photos. Burned metal, blackened corridors, shattered lab equipment. But then, one frame froze her. A symbol on the wall, barely visible through the smoke. A red circle with 6 points inside it. This is not human, she whispered. Ryan leaned in. What is it? Kara looked up. Her voice lowered, like she was afraid the walls were listening. It's the mark of the Shadow Core. Shadow Core? Ryan asked, confused. Kara walked back to the bench and sat. A secret group inside the Zarak Empire. They work in the dark. They sabotage peace and light the flames of war. They kill quietly, and they never leave evidence. But they left a symbol. Yes, she said, because they want me blamed. Ryan sat down across the glass. Why you? Because I'm a bridge, Kara replied. My mission was never just diplomacy. I came with warnings. Secret ones. The Shadow Core is planning something big. Not just against humans, but against both our races. Ryan frowned. Why didn't you say this when I arrested you? Because I wasn't sure who to trust, Kara said quietly. Now I'm not sure how much time we have. There was a long silence. Then a voice came through Ryan's earpiece. Commander, Station Command needs you. Now. He stood, eyes still on Kara. Stay here. I'll be back. As Ryan left, Kara turned the tablet again. She zoomed in on the burnt symbol. She could still feel it. The Shadow Core's presence. They were watching. They had framed her. And they were not done yet. Outside, Ryan walked fast through the corridors of the station. He reached the command room. Officers stood around a hologram screen. Another explosion had just been reported. This time, a cargo ship near the station. Human lives lost again. The captain looked at Ryan. Same pattern. Same tech signature. And Kyra's still locked up, Ryan said slowly. Either she's controlling it from inside, the captain said, or she's telling the truth. Ryan stared at the screen. Deep down, he already knew. Back in the cell, Kara whispered a message in her native tongue. Soft, slow, ancient words. A small device hidden beneath her robe flickered once, then died. A signal had been sent. But to whom? Truth beneath the silence. The lights in Kara's cell dimmed as the station switched to night cycle. Outside the thick walls, Station Orion floated in silence, its massive hull rotating slowly above the moon's cold surface. Inside, everything seemed calm. But Kara knew better. Something was moving in the dark. She sat quietly, hands folded, but her mind was sharp, focused. The message she had sent through her hidden transmitter was old tech, low energy, almost invisible. She didn't know if it reached anyone, but she had to try. Hours passed. Then the door opened again. Commander Ryan stepped in, his face tense. He threw a data chip onto the bench beside her. Another attack, he said. A human cargo vessel. Same explosion pattern. Same energy signature. Kara looked at him. So now do you believe me? Ryan nodded slowly. I believe you're not the enemy, but you're still hiding something. Kara picked up the chip and looked at the report. She sighed. I didn't come to your station just for trade talks, she said. I came with a secret mission. My leaders told me to keep it quiet, even from the humans. Why? Ryan asked. Because they were afraid, Kara replied. The Shadow Core is real. They are inside our systems, our ships, our governments. They knew if I spoke openly, someone would stop me. And now, someone has. Ryan leaned closer. You said they were planning something big. What is it? Kiara hesitated. Then she reached into her sleeve and pulled out a tiny crystal. This has the recordings of secret council meetings, intercepted transmissions, movement logs of enemy ships. If we decode it, we'll know their next move. Ryan's eyes widened. Why didn't you give this before? Because in the wrong hands, this could start a war, Kiara said softly. And I didn't trust you. Ryan took the crystal. He stared at it for a moment, then slipped it into a secure case. We'll run this through our deep scan, he said. But I'm warning you, if this turns out to be a trap, then I'll already be dead, Kiara said calmly. Ryan left the room. As he walked down the corridor, alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed across the walls. Security breach, a voice shouted through the speakers. Unknown life form detected in Hangar Bay 3. Ryan's blood ran cold. He ran toward the command center. As he entered, the large screen showed security footage. A tall figure in black armor cutting through guards with brutal speed. Its body shimmered like shadows. Its face was hidden behind a smooth silver mask. Shadow Core, Ryan whispered. How did it get inside? Someone asked. Maybe it was already here, said the captain grimly. We have to move Kara, Ryan said. She's the target. He ran back toward the detention cells, drawing his weapon. Meanwhile, inside her cell, Kara stood still. She could hear the alarms. She could feel it. Something was coming. Something dark. Something that wanted her silenced forever. The lights outside her room flickered. Then the wall exploded. Smoke and sparks filled the corridor. A tall figure stepped through the flames. Its armor glowed with strange symbols. In its hand, it held a long blade made of energy. Kara backed away, eyes sharp, heart steady. The figure stepped closer. But before it could strike, a blast hit it from behind. Commander Ryan stood at the end of the hall, his weapon smoking. Step away from her, he shouted. The assassin turned and charged. A battle broke out in the hallway. Quick, brutal, deadly. Ryan fought with all his strength, but the shadow warrior moved like liquid, dodging bullets, striking fast. Kara picked up a fallen guard's stun gun and fired. The blast hit the assassin in the back, slowing it just enough for Ryan to shoot again. Finally, the masked enemy fell. Its body twitched, then went still. Ryan kicked the weapon away and looked at Kara. You saved me, he said, surprised. You saved me first, she replied. They stood together in the smoke. No more secrets, Ryan said. From now on, we work together. Kara nodded. Then we'd better move. That was just a scout. The real threat is still coming. Ryan looked at her, eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Kara stared into the dark hallway. They're not just trying to kill me, she said. They're trying to make sure Earth never sees what's coming next. The hidden ship and the watching enemy. The corridor was quiet now, but the air still smelled like burning metal. Kara stood beside Commander Ryan, both breathing hard, their clothes stained with smoke. Behind them, the body of the shadow assassin lay broken on the floor, its mask cracked, revealing nothing but black ash beneath. That wasn't human, Ryan muttered. No, Kara replied softly. And it wasn't fully alive either. He looked at her, confused. What does that mean? The Shadow Core uses bioprogrammed bodies, she said. Part machine, part grown from dark matter energy. They don't sleep, don't bleed, and don't fear. Ryan stared at the body. So this thing was sent to kill you. Kara nodded, and to make sure the crystal never reaches your high command. Ryan reached inside his vest and checked the case holding the crystal. It was safe. For now. But they both knew this wasn't over. They didn't return to the command center. Instead, Ryan took Kara through a side path, using his private officer clearance. They avoided patrols, security checks, and open areas. Where are we going? Kara asked. Someplace where no one can watch us, Ryan answered. You said you had a ship docked here, right? Yes, Kara said. A private scout vessel. Unregistered. No one should know about it. They reached a maintenance elevator. Ryan keyed in a code. The lift moved down, deep below the main levels of the station. After a minute, the door opened. They stepped into a dark docking bay. Only 2 small ships sat in the massive hangar. Kara walked quickly toward the second one. Her fingers moved across a hidden panel on the side. The door opened with a soft hum. The ship's inside was smooth, curved, glowing with soft blue light. Ryan followed, closing the hatch behind them. "Welcome to the Elysia," Kara said. "Not bad," Ryan replied, looking around. They moved to the control panel. Kara placed her hand on a glowing pad. The ship responded with a quiet tone, then projected a hologram in the air. Hundreds of star maps appeared. Blinking red points showed enemy movement. "These routes, they're all in human sectors," Ryan said, alarmed. "Yes," Kara said. "The Shadow Corps has been watching Earth for months. They plan to strike where you least expect it. Communication hubs, supply lines, and energy relays." Ryan pointed at one blinking mark. "That's near Mars base." Kara touched it. "They've already sent a ghost ship. It's cloaked, full of energy bombs." "Why are you helping us?" Ryan asked suddenly. "Your own people didn't want to tell us." Kara looked at him. "Because I don't care who wins or loses," she said. "I care about who survives. And I've seen what the Shadow Corps does. They destroy from the inside. They make enemies out of friends. They start wars without ever firing a shot." Just then, an alert appeared on the screen. "Unauthorized scan detected. Location: hangar bay." Kiara and Ryan froze. "They found us," she whispered. Ryan drew his weapon. "How?" Kiara rushed to the controls. "They've hacked the station's surveillance. They're watching every door, every camera, even the walls." Suddenly, the ship shook. "They're locking the bay doors," Kiara said. "We need to launch now." She started the engines. Lights flickered. The ship began to rise. Outside, security bots moved into position. "Hold on," Kiara said. She pushed the engines to full power. The ship roared forward, smashing through the half-closed doors. Metal tore. Sparks flew. The Elysia burst into space. Alarms sounded across Station Orion. Defense systems powered up. But it was too late. Kiara's ship had already cloaked. Inside, Ryan sat in the co-pilot seat, still gripping his weapon. "You really know how to escape," he said. Kiara gave a faint smile. "I've done it before." She reached under the seat and pulled out a hidden case. Inside were more data crystals, old maps, and a small sphere pulsing with green light. "This is a memory core from an old Zerak Sentinel," she said. "It has a record of the first contact with the Shadow Corps, everything they don't want you to know." Ryan looked at the stars ahead. "We need to get to High Command." Kara nodded. "Yes, but we'll need help." Ryan looked at her. "From who?" Kara stared ahead, her eyes distant. "From someone who was erased from all records. A human who once worked for the Shadow Corps and escaped." "Do you know where he is?" Kara's voice was quiet. "Yes, but going there means walking into a graveyard. Enemy among the stars." The stars outside the ship were bright, cold, and endless. The Elysia moved through them like a ghost, silent, cloaked, unseen. Inside, Kara adjusted the controls while Ryan checked the weapon systems. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Ryan broke the silence. "Who is this man we're going to find?" Kara didn't look away from the screen. "His name is Daxon Vryn. Once, he was a human commander. Brilliant strategist. But years ago, he disappeared during a classified mission. The official report said he died in a reactor explosion. But he didn't. He was captured by the Shadow Corps." Ryan frowned. "And he escaped?" Kara nodded. "Yes, but when he returned, your leaders didn't believe him. They erased his records, said he was infected, unstable, so he vanished again. Now he hides on the edge of known space, in a place called the Fracture Zone. Ryan had heard of it. The Fracture Zone was a dead region. No trade, no colonies, only drifting wreckage and ghost signals. Sounds like a lovely vacation spot, he said. It's more than that, Kyra replied. It's the graveyard of secrets. After 2 hours, they dropped out of warp. Space outside was twisted and strange. Shattered moons, broken ships, and dead satellites floated in silence. The stars looked dimmer here, as if the light was afraid to enter. Are we being followed? Ryan asked. Kara checked the scan. No, but that doesn't mean we're safe. They moved slowly through the debris field, avoiding wrecked hulls and mines. Then a signal pinged. There, Kyra said, behind that asteroid. A hidden base came into view, old, damaged, but still alive. It had no lights, no welcoming signal, just a code. Kara typed it in. The doors opened. Inside the base, the lights flickered. The air smelled like rust and old smoke. Kyra and Ryan moved through narrow halls until they reached a wide chamber. A figure stepped from the shadows. He wore a cloak, and half his face was covered with metal implants. His eyes were cold, watching them without emotion. Kara Avialari, he said, and a human soldier. Brave or stupid? Daxon, Kyra said. We need your help. He didn't move. I warned your people. They didn't listen. Why should I? Ryan stepped forward. Because this time, we believe. Daxon stared at him. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Daxon sighed. Follow me. In a side room, Daxon activated an old holodeble. A map of the galaxy appeared, marked with red zones. The Shadow Core is preparing for total destabilization, he said. They don't want control. They want collapse. They feed on chaos. He pointed to a red cluster near Earth's territory. This is their forward fleet. 20 ships, invisible to scanners, each carrying pulse bombs capable of cracking planets. Why hasn't anyone seen them? Ryan asked. Because they've hacked your early warning satellites, Daxon replied. Your own systems are blind. Then we have to warn Earth, Ryan said. Won't work, Daxon answered. They'll never believe you. Not without proof. You need something impossible, like the Shadow Core's original command code. Kara leaned forward. Where is it? Daxon's eyes darkened. It's on a black satellite drifting in the abyss belt. Deep space, no beacons, full of defense traps. It's suicide. Ryan stood. Then we'll go. Kara looked at Daxon. Come with us. Daxon hesitated. Then, slowly, he nodded. The three boarded the Elysia. As they launched toward the abyss belt, a dark ship watched them from afar, cloaked, silent, deadly. Inside that enemy ship, a voice spoke through static. The girl has found the traitor. Destroy them before they reach the code. A fleet of shadow drones activated. And behind them, something even worse began to awaken. Not a ship, not a soldier, but a being of ancient shadow. It opened its eyes in the darkness between stars. The trial of two worlds. The Elysia moved fast through the black of space, flying toward the abyss belt, a region feared by all. It was a graveyard of lost missions, a zone filled with radiation, broken satellites, and whispers from ships that never returned. Inside the ship, the air was tense. Kara sat at the control station. Her hands were steady, but her heart was heavy. The Shadow Core was moving faster than expected. They were no longer hiding. They were hunting. Behind her, Ryan loaded a plasma rifle. His jaw was tight, his eyes sharp. When we reach the black satellite, what do we do? He asked. Daxon stood near the map projector. He looked tired, older than before. Years of being hunted had left deep lines on his face. We land on it, Daxon said. Get to the main core. Extract the command key. Simple. What's the catch? Ryan asked. Daxon looked him in the eye. It's alive. The satellite was not just metal and wires. It was a living weapon, grown from tech fused with a shadow core brain, a hybrid sentinel left drifting in the abyss. Its purpose was to guard the final command codes of the shadow core. When the Alicia approached, the satellite opened its eyes, red glowing sensors that scanned deep into the ship. Kara held her breath. "Don't move," Daxon whispered. "Let it read you. If we're lucky, it sees us as forgotten." Seconds passed. Then the satellite opened a docking hatch. "We're in," Kara said, surprised. "No," Daxon replied. "We're invited." Inside the satellite, the walls pulsed like veins. The lights were dim and red, casting shadows on every surface. Strange whispers echoed through the halls, like voices long dead, trapped inside the machine. "This place is wrong," Ryan muttered. "It's built from stolen minds," Kara said. "The shadow core captures knowledge and pain." As they moved deeper, the corridor split into 3 paths. "We split up," Daxon said. "We have to overload the security layers from 3 different nodes. Otherwise, the core won't open." Ryan nodded. "We'll meet back at the center in 10 minutes. They separated, but the satellite was watching. As Kara moved down her path, the lights dimmed more. She could hear footsteps behind her, but when she turned, no one was there. Her heart raced. Then a voice whispered from the walls. "You don't belong here." It was her own voice. Kara stopped. "Who are you?" "You are the seed of betrayal," the voice said. "You carry their fear, their hope, and their doom." She reached the node, placed her hand on it, and screamed. Visions filled her mind. Fire, war, her people falling. A baby wrapped in cloth, humans burning under red skies. Then, silence. The node unlocked. Meanwhile, Ryan reached his terminal and found it protected by a riddle lock, a test from ancient shadow programming. He had to solve a memory puzzle from Earth's history. "The machine is mocking me," he muttered. Then a voice spoke. "You destroyed your own planet long before we arrived." "Shut up," Ryan said, typing fast. He remembered his grandfather's words. "Knowledge saves, fear destroys." He entered the phrase. The lock clicked open. At the same moment, Daxon faced the hardest path. His was guarded by a shadow warrior, grown from his own memories. It looked like him. "Traitor," the figure said. Daxon didn't reply. They fought, hand to hand, blow for blow. Metal clashed with bone. Memory clashed with guilt. At the end, Daxon stabbed the shadow with his own blade. "I may be broken," he whispered, "but I'm still human." His node unlocked. They met at the central core, a glowing orb pulsing with energy. Inside it, the final command code was spinning, lines of red light, guarded by a last firewall. "Ready?" Kara asked. Ryan nodded. "Let's end this." They placed all 3 keys into the chamber. The firewall cracked, and the code downloaded. They had it. The weapon to expose the shadow core's entire network. But the satellite screamed. Outside, hundreds of shadow drones rose from the debris field. "They're here," Daxon said, "and we're out of time." They ran back to the Alicia, chased by lasers and claws. The ship's shield cracked. The engines roared. Kara flew them out, dodging blasts. But then, a large shadow ship uncloaked in front of them. "It's the Overlord class," Daxon said. "That's their leader's ship." "We can't outrun it," Ryan said. Kara's hands tightened on the controls. "We won't." She turned the ship around. "What are you doing?" Ryan shouted. "Buying Earth time," Kara said. She transferred the command code to a pod and launched it. "That pod is going straight to your high command," she said. Then she turned the Alicia toward the enemy ship. "Let's show them we're not afraid of the dark." The ship crashed into the Overlord's hull. Blinding light filled the stars. On Earth, the command pod landed in a secure zone. The message played. "This is Kara of the Yellari. We were wrong. They are coming. But we have one chance. Stand together. The High Command listened. And finally, they believed. Her arrest saved the world. Earth's skies were no longer peaceful. Above the blue oceans and green lands, the heavens cracked open with flashes of red and black. Dozens of Shadow Corps warships dropped from cloaked orbit, each carrying weapons of silence, pulse bombs, memory disruptors, and dark matter cannons. The warning had come just in time, but now it was war. Inside the High Command bunker deep under the Atlantic Ridge, generals, scientists, and leaders watched the command code sent by Kara. She risked everything, one officer whispered. The admiral stood tall. She didn't just risk it. She gave her life. On the edge of the solar system, the wreckage of the Elegia floated among broken pieces of the Overlord ship. Emergency rescue teams from a nearby research vessel picked up faint signals. Inside a damaged escape pod, they found movement. A heartbeat. Kara. Her body was weak, her skin pale, but her eyes opened. "Where am I?" she whispered. The medic leaned closer. "You're safe. We found you. You survived." Kara tried to sit, but pain shot through her chest. She fell back, breath shaking. "What about the others?" The medic's face fell. "I'm sorry. We only found you." Kara closed her eyes. She remembered the moment she turned the ship. Ryan shouting. Daxon smiling with fire in his eyes. They knew what they were doing. They gave her a chance to save Earth. Now she was alone. Back on Earth, the High Command had already activated the counteroffensive. With the command code, they'd broke into the Shadow Corps' network, exposed hidden agents across systems, and disabled dozens of cloaked ships before they could strike. Earth's new alliance with Kara's people gave them extra weapons, shield drones, plasma nets, and anti-cloak cannons. The war that had started in silence now roared with fire. But something worse was coming. A massive object moved in from deep space, bigger than any ship, older than any record. "It's not a ship," the radar officer said. "Then what is it?" the admiral asked. Kiara, watching from her hospital bed, whispered the answer. "It's the Eye." The Eye was the core mind of the Shadow Fleet, a living machine, born from the first war between stars. It had one goal: to erase memory, history, and hope. With every world it touched, it rewrote the story of life itself. And now, it had seen Earth. The defense grid prepared, ships launched, energy cannons powered up. But none of it was enough. The Eye fired a wave of silence. Every system shut down, screens went black, weapons died. Earth was defenseless, until a single voice broke through the static. "This is Kara of Yilari. I carry the last light." From the orbiting hospital station, Kara stood inside an old Yilari interface chamber. It linked her mind to the energy systems once used by her ancestors. Technology powered not by machines, but by thought, emotion, and memory. Her heart beat slow. Her mind reached out. Station lights turned blue. Across space, human and alien ships reactivated, their systems glowing with the shared code she sent, a blend of her race and Earth's last hope. The Eye noticed, and turned toward her. It fired. The beam of black fire raced toward the station. But before it struck, something impossible happened. A shield rose, not made of steel or plasma, but of will. Hundreds of ships, both human and Yilari, surrounded the station, forming a living barrier. They had come, not just to fight, but to protect. Because of her, the beam cracked the shield, shattered ships, broke silence. But Kara's signal burned through. A final code, hidden deep in the memory of the satellite they had raided, was sent straight into the heart of the Eye. The machine paused, then screamed. It didn't explode. It collapsed, folding into itself like a dying star, taking its darkness with it. The war was over, not because of weapons, but because of trust. Weeks later, a ceremony was held on Earth. Humans and Yilari stood side by side. A statue of three figures was placed in the heart of the Unity Square. Kara, holding the crystal. Ryan, with a rifle in one hand and a shield in the other. Daxon, standing behind them with a hand on both their shoulders. None of them spoke in the statue. But the plaque below told the story. She was arrested. She was hunted. She was doubted. But she never gave up. And because of her, we saw the truth. And we survived. Kara stood at the edge of the crowd, her face calm, her eyes full. She looked up at the sky, a place once full of enemies, now full of stars.